Welcome to the YouTube Creators Hub podcast, where we help you conquer the internet one video at a time. We cover everything from how to start a YouTube channel to how to make a video go viral. And now, here's your host, the one and only Dusty Porter.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the YouTube Creators Hub podcast, episode 336. I'm going to keep the intro quick in this one because we've got a great interview waiting on you on the other side. First off, huge thank you to TubeBuddy for continuing to sponsor this show. If you don't know who or what TubeBuddy is, it's that one tool I recommend every YouTube creator try at least once. So if you haven't already, use our link and get a free 30-day trial, an entire month of utilizing TubeBuddy. You will not regret it. All right, big announcement. We are starting a mastermind group. And in order to be a part of our mastermind group for the first 3 months, we're just doing a 3-month trial run. You just have to support us over on Patreon for the $5 tier or higher. We want to know that you have to have a little bit of skin in the game. Also, just a warning, it will go up significantly beyond this point. So if you want to be a part of the mastermind group beyond these 3 months, there will be a new price tier for that. But right now, the opening tier starts in February, middle of February. It's a Wednesday. If this is something you're interested in, plus being part of the Discord, plus having your name shouted out once a month here on the episode, guys, it's a no-brainer. So go over to patreon.com/DustyPorter, $5 or $10 tier or higher, and you get access to that Zoom call once a month for the next 3 months starting in February. So February, March, and April, as long as you remain a supporter of the show. It's just another way I think we can grow our community, and I just cannot wait to see where we can take it. So definitely do that if you haven't already. And we got a bunch of new patrons, plus old folks who've been with us for a while. We got Matt Leidy, Randy Engler, Simon Holman, Chase Shelby, Orlando Hubbard from Idea Splurge on YouTube, David Rico, Cybermind, 8 Eddie, all of you guys. Some of you joining in the past 2 days. Thank you all for supporting me. I really do appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to your podcast. Doesn't matter if it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play. It really does not matter. Subscribe to us. It's absolutely free. And with all of that said, let's go ahead and jump into this week's conversation. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's conversation on the YouTube Creators Hub podcast. So excited today to be joined by Cristian from the Gruntly YouTube channel. He's 24, Australian, is an elementary school PE teacher, newly married, avid camper and hunter, and basically on his channel, the primary focus is into hunting video games and the odd video on just random things that he thinks is fun. Cristian, how are you doing today?
I'm very well, Dusty. Thank you so much for having me. And I've got to say that listening to you do the intro, I felt like I was just a listener again. So it's really cool that you're talking to me.
I love it. I love it. I was thinking as I was preparing for this show the past couple of days, I can't remember the last time I had a gaming YouTube channel on. Early on in the podcast, it was something that happened quite frequently, but I've tried to diversify and kind of spread out the love as far as the different kinds of creators that I have. So I'm super excited to kind of hear how you've grown the channel now to thousands and thousands of subscribers. You've got a great community over there around not just gaming, but around a specific niche in gaming. So if you would, give us the origin story of the Gruntly YouTube channel.
Yeah, well, it all started first on Twitch. So I started, I'm going to say late 2019, because it was. And I started on Twitch because I just loved talking to people and loved content. And then eventually I found that growing on Twitch is quite difficult. So I made the switch over to YouTube. But the core of the channel has always been for hunting games. It's something that I've been playing since I was, probably 5-6 years old with my dad. And then just as the games grew, I grew, and they've become more complex, more in-depth, more sim-like. And it's something I've really enjoyed. And I was lucky enough to be a part of a community that is very supportive in that growth. And it's helped me do considerably well, I guess, in the last year. So making that switch from live streaming to YouTube, and then just creating the content and having fun with editing and having fun with, thumbnails, although I'm still working that one out. But yeah, that's pretty much the channel. We're a hunting video game channel, and plans to branch out in the future, but that's definitely the core of it for a long while.
So I want to ask you, from what you just said, you had a previous audience or community over on Twitch. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
For those,
yeah, it's very small. But yes.
Sure. For those that don't know, Twitch is a live streaming platform. I'm sure if you're listening to this program, you probably know what or have heard of Twitch before. What was that moment when you decided, okay, I kind of have a smaller kind of community built here over on Twitch. What made you decide to kind of make the crossover to YouTube?
So my mentality was to create a funnel. And for that, I mean that on Twitch, the discoverability is, in a word, horrible. So I decided to open up a YouTube channel. And my decision behind that was because in 2 years, I was averaging about 10 to 15 viewers, which is not bad at all. It's quite good, but I felt like the channel could do more, and my personality and my ability to create content could do more. So I opened up a YouTube channel with the idea of bringing people to Twitch. But after YouTube started surpassing Twitch, I sort of put the live streaming on the background, and obviously starting full-time work, I had to, find what time, have quality time when I was creating content. So YouTube was the biggest part, was the best part to grow. And so I decided to put all my eggs in the YouTube basket for a little while, but, plans to get back into streaming quite a bit this year.
So do you stream on YouTube now, or do you plan on kind of, now that you've got the channel growing, and it is growing, in the amount of time that you've moved over to YouTube now, you've done a really good job. I mean, you've got a couple of videos with hundreds of thousands of views. You've got, most of your videos are averaging anywhere from about, 2,000, 3,000 views if you average them out, even more than that on a lot of them. So you're doing something, and you're doing it very well. So what are some things you've learned in the transition, a couple of things that maybe you can attribute to the quick success over on YouTube?
I guess the big thing between live streaming and making long-form content is the opportunity to edit. That's something that, you can take out all the buts or thinking, the dead noise. You can take all of that out, which that was a big change, just learning how to edit. And thankfully on YouTube, there are so many tutorials and people who are willing to help you out. So I was very grateful for that. So that was, the big thing. Sorry, what was the question again?
I was just asking, as far as like a couple of things that you would attribute the success on YouTube, like the quick success that you've had thus far. I was just curious as to, are there a couple of things that you would look at and say, these are the things that I would say have helped me grow quickly?
I think the biggest thing has been targeting search. I sort of made the realization early on that nobody who doesn't know me will be searching for Gruntly, whereas someone who plays the Hunter Call of the Wild will be searching how to level up fast, how to get money in the game, how to find animals. So I thought if I can target that in search, therefore hopefully broaden my discoverability. So I think that's been a big thing, but also just by building on my ability to create eye-catching thumbnails and titles. Because obviously, even though I show up in search, I'm up there. If I'm top 5, which would be amazing, I still have to battle 4 other videos to be clicked on. So just working on those has been really good for the channel.
Now, you talk about that you kind of thrive with your thumbnails and branding, and I would agree with that. I love the logo of the channel. I love the banner. I love the visual aspect of the channel. Did you have experience in doing that kind of thing? Was it really kind of the stuff that you had to implement over on Twitch? What would you say that came from, and what are some pointers you would give folks as far as channel branding and marketing?
So first, I guess it starts with the name of the channel, Gruntly. I was a big Halo fan growing up, and a grunt is one of the enemies within the game, and they've always got these like silly little lines that they say as you're battling them and whatnot. So they quickly became one of my favorite enemies in the game. So I've sort of got the channel revolving around the grunt head, and the logo and the cover have actually been made by friends of mine. So community is a big thing in YouTube, I believe, and having those friends has made it a lot easier to brand the channel the way I'd like. And make it, a bit pleasing to the eye.
Yeah, and with the thumbnails, do you have a couple of things that you've implemented on your channel? Like I can see like a color theme. What are some, I guess you would say, pointers that you could give people in regards to thumbnails as far as things that you try to do and that you've actually seen results with?
Consistency with your thumbnail. I guess I try to always go for that yellow text. I try to always have a bit of sky blue in there. Those are my two things I'm always implementing in a thumbnail whenever I create one. There's been times where I've looked to other people to creating thumbnails and it just hasn't turned out the way I like, so I've gone back to doing it myself. But yeah, just having that consistency in your thumbnail, because your audience will sort of see the thumbnail and know it's your video straight away. And if they want to watch your videos, they'll definitely click on it again.
Yeah, for like suggested, that's a big deal. When I started kind of doing certain themes for specific types of videos on my channel, I saw the click-through rate of suggested to just go through the roof, depending on kind of how you're doing it. So you did something that I think is very smart. You niched down very tightly, and what I mean by that is that you're not just a gaming creator or a gaming YouTuber. You've taken it even a step further, and you are doing like hunting games and outdoor games on your channel, and that's kind of what you've based the channel around. Can you talk about the pros and cons of doing that and what you've seen thus far?
Yeah, so the big pro is that once you're uploading more and more, you become, I guess, a household name within the game. Now, I'm not known by every person who plays hunting games, but if I go into a particular game's Discord or live stream, there's now a chance that somebody knows me, and that's only with 6,500 subscribers. So that's really awesome that you become known and people will recommend you to others. Oh, you play Hunter Call the Wild? Oh, you've definitely got to check out Gruntly because he creates content for the game. That's really good. A big con is you really size down your potential audience. I'm stuck to the people who are interested in one game or one very small niche. But that being said, there is a lot less competition within that niche. So that helps me, break through. If it was a game like Call of Duty, there would be hundreds, if not thousands, of different channels I have to compete against. Whereas in the Hunter Call the Wild and other hunting games, it's maybe 20.
And I assume you're able to look at other creators who are in the same niche as you, and you can narrow that down quicker because there are fewer of them than gaming channels, and try to see what they're doing well. What did you learn early on from looking at your peers who are doing it kind of in the same space that you are?
So a lot of the peers that do it in the same space that I am in is they sort of love to go out and find the rare animals, the big animals. Whereas I've seen, okay, well, that part of the niche has been taken. What can I do differently? And I even look to other niches and sometimes not even gaming and other channels just to see their ideas and how I could twist them to work with Call of the Wild and create a challenge or to maybe editing ideas and the like.
Yeah, being able to see what I love doing that. It's one of my favorite things is to go to see what other creators are doing, like in the tutorial space, and see how are they editing their videos, how are they branding, and how are they doing their thumbnails. And one of my really favorite things to do is like when I'm on the exercise bike or something like that, I'll go and I'll watch boring tutorial videos around a bit of software, and I'll see what the people who are getting the views, like how are they presenting this topic? How are they teaching? And I'm really bad about doing it with podcasting. Like I'll be listening to a podcast with my wife and I'll pause it and I'll like start jotting down notes or mentally be thinking, and she's like, what are you doing? I want to listen. And I tell her, well, I want to see how they're asking these questions. I want to see how they're interacting with their guest, and always trying to get better, always trying to improve. And I love that. Now, you are a full-time educator, PE teacher, is that correct?
That is correct, yep.
Okay, so you're doing this part-time, which I love having people who do this kind of, I say it's as a hobby, but possibly aspiration to do it full-time. What are the challenges as far as, you're just newly married, you're eventually possibly going to have children. How are you balancing your time between the YouTube channel and real personal life?
That's a great question. It's hard. There's a lot going on at home and work, and then you throw the YouTube channel on top of it. It's a lot, but I guess the passion and the love for just creating content and, seeing the comments just keeps you going forward and uploading that next video and pushing. Sure, there have been times where I've, had a mini break, but with everything going on, I think I deserve the break. So I'd take it and, hopefully I come back and people are there. If not, thankfully I've got a full-time job that I'm not relying on AdSense or anything like that to come in. So yeah, it's hard to balance all of that. And, on top of what you said with like work, family, life, on top of that, I need to try to find time to stay fit, not sit stagnant in life. So, I've joined a sports team and I'm trying to, training twice a week and going to a game once a week. So that's more time out of my week that I could have to create content and upload. But it's a juggling act.
Yeah, that's a very important thing to mention. People think, well, you got to take care of your mind. You have to be mentally strong and you've got to protect that. But also physically, as a creator, you're sitting down a lot, you're editing video, you're filming. Even if you're going on site, that's just for a brief amount of time. You're spending double, triple that in front of the computer, preparing the video, marketing the video, whatever it may be. I have to make it fun for myself. Like you said, you joined a sports team. Something I'm looking into is doing some pickup basketball. I love taking walks throughout the day. I live in the South here in the United States. For the most part, 9 months of the year, I can walk and the weather is decent to great, but I'm in the 3 months right now where it's really cold. So I did take a walk this morning, but I had my big jacket on and I definitely didn't get the distance that I normally would. But that's all important because you're taking care of yourself. And also I talk about this because I believe it's one of the most important things as a creator is having support from those who are around you, whether it be your significant other, your spouse, your wife, your dad, your mom, whoever, right? Having that support early on, if I didn't have that, I'd probably still be in a 9-to-5 job. I probably wouldn't be doing YouTube and podcasting and running my own business because I had some people, like my mom, like my wife, like my dad and my grandparents, all of them were behind. They never asked once, why are you doing that? That does not sound fruitful, or I don't think you can. It was always positive reinforcement. So having that as a creator is really important. So just as with anything in life, watch who you're surrounding yourself with because it is very critical to your success on YouTube where you may not think that it is. You mentioned about not relying on AdSense or money from YouTube. It's a very empowering thing to know that you don't have to rely on that. I know early on I wanted to make sure that I did not rely on YouTube ad revenue, which is obviously why I started the podcast. I got into voice acting. I do wedding films. So I kind of diversified my net. Talk about how you're making money and how you plan to make money with your content.
Yeah, so it's really, really simple. I've heard other guests and they've got many forms of revenue, but for me it is primarily earning money from my full-time job and then whatever I can earn on the side from AdSense, as simple as that, because the AdSense isn't enough to live on, not even for a week. So I hope that grows and in the future maybe reassess where else I can generate some income. But hopefully when I move back over to Twitch through their subscription service, which is like YouTube's member service, hopefully generate a little bit more through there, but it's not too in-depth.
Yeah, so right now you're just focusing or just have the AdSense revenue.
Yeah.
Because you have reached those thresholds. Now, I see that you've done some shorts and you've had some pretty good success with them. What would you say about YouTube Shorts? What's your opinion there? How did you get into it? What would you say for folks who are looking to do short-form vertical content?
So the shorts are very simply what I've uploaded to TikTok, I upload to YouTube Shorts. So it's the same one whether you find them on either platform. But the discoverability is that just someone has to just scroll. And I love that. And I know that, a shorts viewer probably has a different attention span and engagement rate to someone who watches long form content, which I've definitely heard you say before as well. But I think just getting my name out there, that was a big thing for me. And shorts and TikTok, it's a great way because no one has to search. The platform just says, hey, I think this might be good for you, so I'm going to show it to you. Not you have a choice on clicking on it. Here is the first couple of seconds. It's up to you if you want to skip it.
So I got a couple of follow-up questions for you, and I've jotted these down. this is coming from someone, by the way, I want to be completely clear. On my main YouTube channel, I haven't done any YouTube Shorts because when I do it, I want to do it right. I do have a TikTok channel that has around 10,000 followers and has hundreds of thousands of views, almost millions really, that I don't talk about here, that I'm tinkering with and trying some stuff that I want to do some repurposing with as far as moving it over to YouTube Shorts.
Yep.
When it comes to YouTube Shorts, you talked about it. You have the shorter attention span. The discoverability is different than long form video. What results or what impact have the short form videos had on your channel that you can see in analytics or you can see in the channel?
Yeah, well, if let me grab my analytics.
Absolutely.
For my shorts.
And are you're looking at these in a different location? Just so I know the answer to this, but just so the folks listening can understand, you can break down shorts views and analytics separate from your regular long form content.
Yes,
that's correct. Yes, and it's very important that understanding how it's affecting your channel, whether or not you should or shouldn't be doing it, or if you need to pivot and do it a different way.
Mm-hmm. So my last 30-day period, I can tell you shorts definitely, that the views probably take up around 70%, but I don't really count those views as valuable as a view from a long form video.
Okay, why is that? Yeah.
Because no one's chosen to click on it, and it doesn't really, a view could be 1 second on a short or a TikTok. So I look more at like the average view duration, and a massive or something really good is if you can get something that's like 100% or more. So if you loop that content and generates more of an average view duration. I've got a video here that has an average view duration on 6,000 views of 130%. So that video is only 15 seconds long.
Huh. Okay.
But because I've looped it, people forget that they're watching the same video again, and or maybe they just really like it. So YouTube sort of freaks out when it sees something over 100% and it shows it to more people. So 6,000 views in a 30-day period on my channel is absolutely amazing. But there's another one that's done more. It's got another 200 views in that. It's 81% average view duration, but that's 45 seconds. Mm-hmm. So it's just keeping people, like a long form video, just keeping them on your video as long as possible. That's a big thing, and it then generates more views, gets out to more people, and hopefully more subscribers.
Yeah, there's so much more to be understood about short form content on YouTube.
Yeah, it's a different ballgame.
It's a different ballgame, and the monetization stuff that's rolling out as we're recording this, I mean, in these early days of 2023 and going forward, it's going to be interesting to see what value advertisers see in that content. Are folks buying stuff from short form content? I would say they are and they will, because people buy stuff from Instagram and Facebook and those little, image ads as well. So it's going to be interesting and really fun to follow, and I can't wait to cover it here on the podcast. I know for a fact that I've pulled up, while we were doing this, I've pulled up a couple of my videos. I have a video that is 21 minutes and 22 seconds, so 21 minutes and some change long. And the average viewer is watching around, it says here in my analytics, around 87% of the video, which is a huge number, like you said. I mean,
that's amazing.
We're talking, I mean, the majority of my videos, because I don't want you to think that I do that normally, because I don't. I mean, the average view duration of most folks on their channel, unless you're like Mr. Beast or Casey Neistat or someone who has a community that's just going to eat up everything from start to finish, and they're going to be dying for more, which is what you want to strive for, right? I mean, 25, 30, 40 is really good. 50 is great. 60 is amazing. You get my point, right? Like in the 70, 80, 90 percentile, you're really getting up there, and YouTube is going to push and pump that video out. My channel is focused primarily, if not solely, on search. And so having a video that performed that well, the amount of money that I've made on that video just dwarfs most of my other videos. I mean, it's only been out just less than a year, and I've made a few $1,000 on it, and that's a really good number. So understanding analytics is key, and seeing how YouTube's going to treat short form video is going to be really, really fun. So I have some creators coming on in the next couple of months who focus completely on short form video. So it's going to be interesting to kind of chat with them about that. If you don't mind, let's pivot now to the process of you making a video. What does that look like from start to finish?
Yeah, so first of all, I need to get the idea. So whether it's something that I've just cooked up as I've been driving to work, or as I've been exploring YouTube or even TikTok at times, I try to find an idea that I can fit the mold of the hunting game genre. Or maybe a new game's come out and I've got to think about a review. But anyway, think about the idea of what the video will be. Then it's a matter of, depending on the video, I might create a script. So my newest video is an experience guide for Call of the Wild. So I've created a script for that. Then now I've started to use webcam. So I then get on the camera, record that sort of aspect. I pop that all into, I use Adobe Premiere Pro, which is an editing software. I use that to edit. I take out all the buts, the R's, the dead noise, make it as small as possible, because especially if it's I find, maybe you find this as well, Dusty, that I find with content that you are creating a tutorial, people want to be in and out as fast as possible.
Yes.
So if they're in search and they see, okay, this video is 10 minutes long, this one's 7 minutes long, I'll click on the 7-minute one because it's going to get me to my goal faster, assuming that it gets you there. But so after I sort of shrink it down and take out all the unnecessary parts, then I will look at that video. Where can I cut out the footage of my face and implement game footage? So then I'll work out, okay, what sort of game footage do I want here? Is it me driving and exploring the reserve? Is it me hunting? Is it me in my trophy lodge or something like that? So then I'll go into the game, record that footage, put it all in Adobe Premiere Pro, make it look nice on the timeline, and then that's when I can edit in, whether it's music, sound effects, text, subtitles, that sort of thing. And then once I'm done with that, export it, get it ready to upload, create a thumbnail and title. And at times I sort of work out the title and thumbnail before I even start creating the video.
I want to ask you this. You mentioned you just started using your webcam. For those listening who are gaming creators or just creators in general who might just do voiceover on top of images or video footage, whatever it may be, what have you found to be the benefit of including your face in your video, if anything?
The biggest sort of pro about using a webcam is you're adding in the human factor. Yes, your voice is probably in your video, but just being able to make eye contact with the camera, hence the audience, I think that's a really big and important thing.
Yeah, I would agree. I've seen a lot of kind of points for both as to why you should and maybe why you shouldn't as opposed to that. Cristian, this has been awesome. I want to ask you a couple of closing questions here. What are you wanting to do in the future? Like, where are you looking to take the channel? Do you have some aspirations that you have in mind? Like, what are you looking to do short term and long term?
So long term, the goal is definitely to be doing this full time. I think I'm capable and I'm going to continue to strive to do so. But the hunting niche will only get me so far. So down the line, I want to sort of branch out the niche, whether it's into other outdoor games, whether it's survival games or post-apocalyptic or something like that. But I want to be able to branch out into other games and just not be a channel that's only hunting games. Short term, just try to keep up consistently uploading. I think that's a problem a lot of us have, and
yes,
that's a big one. Yeah.
So what helps you in your consistency? Like I'm looking at your channel now, and you've been, for the most part, rather consistent. So what have been some systems or things you've put in place to make sure that you do stay consistent on the channel?
I think have a plan. That's something as well I've really worked on this year, and plan what I'll be uploading to YouTube. Plan what my Twitch content will be, like my TikTok content. I think having a plan and not just being like, okay, I'm going to record today, I've got no idea what I'm recording. Whereas I sit at my desk and I'm like, okay, we need to record this guide on this right now. then I will edit it and get through with it. But everyone's different at the same time. I can't sit there and concentrate on something that I don't want to do for 2 hours. So I'll look at the clock and I go, okay, it's 1:30, 2:30, you're going to have a break, just push to that.
Right.
And then, play another game.
Right.
I've got some like outlet games that I just relax and play. Play another game, relax, then come back to editing for another half an hour, then go back and forth. That helps my mind, but everyone's different. I know there's people who can sit there for 5 hours and not blink.
Yeah, I'm certainly not that person. I'm certainly not that person either. I'm with you there. It's, when you do tutorial and educational content, when a new update comes out on something, like in your case, the game, or in my case, a bit of software, you've got to be rather timely. And so you may have a video already almost done, but then you're like, okay, it's time to reverse, and I've got to get this other thing done quick. Yep. So being able to understand the timeliness of content is really critical too, and understanding that if you want to get to be a part of the first wave. I know I've had a lot of really successful videos that have done good long tail, and what I mean by long tail is they've been very good for me, creating thousands of views a day, hundreds of thousands of views a week in some cases of these videos, that the only reason I was able to do that is because I was very timely with the video. I saw the update come out, I saw the information, I got to work, I put together the script or the bullet points, whatever, and I got to work. And that's kind of like what you're talking about, as well as understanding kind of how you work and what makes you tick as a creator. So Cristian, thank you so much. What an awesome interview. You're doing some really cool stuff. I would assume now it's going to be easier for you to go over to Twitch from YouTube, because you've created such a really cool tight-knit community over here on YouTube, so I don't think you're going to have any problem doing that. Let my audience know where they can get in touch with you.
Absolutely. So the best place would have to be over on YouTube. Just search Gruntly in the search bar, and I should be the first name that pops up. But other than that, same name over on Twitch and TikTok as well. Those are the platforms I use a lot, and obviously we've got our own Discord channel. Yep, which you can find through all of that.
That is just Gruntly. All those links will be in the show notes as always. And Cristian, thank you so much again, and we'll talk to you next time.
Thank you so much, Dusty.
You've been listening to the YouTube Creators Podcast. We want to thank you and invite you to subscribe to the show, as well as support us on Patreon for great perks, such as having your YouTube channel featured on the show and a link on our website. Until next time, keep uploading those videos.